All right, let's jump right in. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden battle that's happening inside millions of homes. It's a constant fight where our most essential systems are going head-to-head with the environment itself.
So let me ask you this. What really happens when the one machine that you count on to keep you comfortable, to keep you safe, is pushed to its absolute limit, day in and day out? Well, the answer is way more interesting than you might think.
We are, of course, talking about your HVAC system. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning unit. It's kind of the quiet, unsung hero of modern life, right? But in some places, its job is anything but easy.
To really see this battle up close, we've got to go somewhere specific. So our case study is going to take us to Arvada, Colorado. It's a city right on the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains, and it's a place where HVAC systems face one heck of a challenge.
So the first major hurdle for any machine in Arvada is this number, 5,344 feet. That's the elevation. We're talking more than a mile above sea level.
And what does being a mile high actually mean? Well, here's the direct result. The air is thin, like really thin. For every single breath your furnace takes, there's 17% less oxygen available than there is at sea level.
Now, on top of that thin air, the climate just hammers the equipment. It's totally normal to have scorching 90-degree summer days, followed by winter nights that plunge down to -10. This forces a system to go from full-blast cooling to full-blast heating, all in the span of just a few months.
Okay, but this is where it gets really wild, because it's not just the big environmental stuff. You've got all these local issues that just pile on top. There are older homes with ductwork that's way too small. Then you've got newer homes built with the cheapest minimum spec equipment the builder could get away with. And get this, the ground itself, the shifting clay soil, is literally pulling air ducts apart in people's crawl spaces. Oh, and the air is so dry it just cracks all the critical seals. It's a perfect storm of stress.
So let's get into the science of this. How do all these things, the altitude, the weather, the soil, how do they physically mess with the machinery that's supposed to be keeping us comfortable?
Okay, I want you to think of a furnace like an athlete. Down at sea level, with tons of oxygen, it has a really efficient, clean burn. But you take that same athlete and stick them up at 5,344 feet, and now they're gasping for air. With 17% less oxygen, the furnace can start to run rich. That means it's burning way too much fuel for the air it can get. This not only wastes your money, but it can dangerously create carbon monoxide if it's not tuned perfectly by a pro.
And hey, the struggle isn't just with the heat. For your air conditioner, thin air means there's less air mass moving across the coils every time the fan spins. It's like trying to cool off on a hot day with a really weak, flimsy breeze instead of a strong wind. The AC has to work so much harder to dump the heat it pulls from your house, and its efficiency just plummets.
All of this means technicians need really specialized, altitude-specific skills. They can't just pull out a standard pressure chart. It's basically useless up there. Instead, they have to rely on these advanced methods called subcooling and superheat. Basically, they're taking hyper-precise temperature readings of the refrigerant itself to get the system charged just right for the lower atmospheric pressure.
So, what happens when you put a system under all this pressure year after year? Well, it starts to break. Let's take a look at the most common ways these things fail.
In a high-stress place like Arvada, technicians see the same problems over and over and over again. Furnaces that refuse to light up in the dead of winter, air conditioners leaking all their refrigerant, ducts literally pulling themselves apart, and key electrical parts like blower motors and capacitors, they just burn out.
So let's look a little closer at those furnace failures. That constant swing from cold to hot, it creates something called thermal stress, and it physically cracks the igniters. And at the same time, that inefficient low oxygen burn we were just talking about, it creates byproducts that corrode the flame sensors. The very environment is attacking the components.
And this really shows the beating the climate puts on the cooling system. As those temperatures swing like crazy, the copper tubing with the refrigerant in it expands, and then it contracts. Expands, contracts, over and over. After a while, those joints just get tired, they crack, and you end up with tiny leaks that just bleed the life out of your air conditioner.
Okay, enough of the doom and gloom, right? The good news is that understanding these challenges is the absolute first step to beating them. So let's pivot from all the problems to the solutions with a smart homeowner playbook.
All right, first up, here's a fantastic little tool that helps you make that really tough financial call. Do you repair it or do you replace it? It's called the $5,000 rule. It's super simple. You take the age of your unit in years and you multiply it by the cost of the repair. If that number comes out to more than $5,000, replacement is often the much smarter long-term investment.
And when you do need a repair, the whole process should be simple and totally transparent. It really just follows 3 logical steps. 1. You call and describe what's going on. 2. A technician finds the actual root cause and gives you a firm, upfront price for you to approve. And 3. After the work is done, they test the entire system to make sure the fix worked and everything is running perfectly. No mystery, no surprises.
But here it is. This is the most important takeaway of all. The crucial point is, you can avoid most of these emergency situations completely. This statistic says it all. Regular, preventative maintenance catches the small problems before they turn into huge, expensive failures, preventing 85% of all emergency repairs.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Your HVAC system works tirelessly for you. It's fighting a battle against physics and the climate that you might not even be able to see. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Do you know if your system is properly set up to win the fight against your environment?